What is up, guys? My name is Kyle, aka That Dub Dude, and this video is going to be your Bronze to Onyx guide for Halo Infinite Season 2. Let's start with a bit about me. I'm a Halo streamer and content creator over at Twitch.tv. I was in the top 25% of all ranked players at the height of Season 1, and I competed briefly in some HCS Open tournaments as well. This video is going to be a high-level overview of many topics of Halo ranked and competitive play. Everything covered will apply to all levels of play, but I did my best to organize these tips at the stage at which I think they will be most valuable. Let's start this video off with how to climb to silver. If you're a bronze Halo player, I can safely assume you're new to Halo Infinite and perhaps FPS games in general. Firstly, let's make sure those settings are in check. Here's some data taken from Reddit on the average settings for HCS pros and AMs in Halo Infinite. The most important being a sensitivity around 4 or 5 and an FOV around 100. These settings are personal, but I think this is a good place to start. With your settings nailed down, it's time to practice. At this level of play, most of the games you'll be playing will be won and lost on frags. To make sure you're dealing damage, work on your aim. I'd suggest warming up in Bot Bootcamp or the Academy, but my personal suggestion is to spend most of your practice time in the environment you'll be playing in. Hop into a ranked match and get to practicing. Next, let's cover how to climb from silver to gold. At this stage, you understand the basics of FPSs in Halo Infinite, and now it's time to go over some more key fundamentals of aim and movement. Firstly, let's go over the most important fundamental of aim in Halo Infinite, and this is left stick aiming and strafe matching. When in a gunfight in Halo, it is important that you do the majority of your aiming with the left stick and use your right stick simply for fine adjustments. This allows you to more easily stay on target and limits the aim adjustments that are needed when you are descoped. In this clip, we start with the incorrect method of aiming and go on to the correct method of aiming using the left stick. The next fundamental I want to mention is crosshair placement. Make sure you are aware of where you're placing your crosshair when you're not actively fighting. First hits can be so crucial in Halo, and it is imperative that you make the smallest movements necessary to get on target. Now let's cover how to climb from gold to platinum. When climbing from gold to platinum, it is paramount you understand the general theory and strategy for every game type that exists in the Halo Infinite ranked pool. I don't have time to go over every single mode in detail, but I'll do my best to give you one key detail for every game mode here. For Oddball, you want to find your setup or your power position and lock that zone down. Your off-ball players should be occupying key positions and entry points to the ball carrier and making it difficult for your opponents to take space on the map. For Strongholds, I think the objective is obvious, but I oftentimes see players in lower levels constantly flipping spawns while trying to triple cap. This is a hot take, but unless your team really knows what you're doing, lock down 2 positions and play from there. For Slayer, you want to be fighting as a team and pushing your advantages. If you go up on man advantage, make sure you're pushing those final guys and looking for your opponent's next spawns. For Capture the Flag, you want to prioritize slaying more than may feel necessary, and you want to limit those desperation pulls. Sometimes it takes slaying out 2 times in a row to get that flag back to base. King of the Hill plays similarly to Oddball, but this time the objective can't move. If you're the objective player, you want to be helping your team, not hiding, but you do want to play conservatively such that you're not taking extra damage and putting the hill at risk. To wrap up this section of the video, I want to go over some major bad habits I see players at this rank face. Number 1 is jumping constantly. Every time you jump, you become a predictable target with a predictable path of travel. This makes it easy for your opponents to track your movements and nail their shots. Instead of jumping, you should be creating unpredictable strafe patterns and mixing in some crouches to change the height of your head. The second bad habit I see all the time is over meleeing. If you can learn to trust your shot, you can actually stay just outside of melee range and keep these type of players at bay and wrap up easy kills. I could go into greater detail on this, but just know that most of the time meleeing is the wrong option, and you only want to melee if you're down on damage or you're trying to set up an easy kill for your teammate. The last bad habit that I see a lot at this level, but is super pertinent at every level, is ego challenging. As you go up in the ranks, most people are going to be able to hit their shots. So if you're going into fights down on damage or down on a man advantage, you're going to have trouble winning those gunfights, and you're going to be staring at a respawn screen more times than not. At this point, it becomes important to understand where you are in the gunfight, if you're winning and losing, and to not get tunnel vision on the guy in front of you. Now let's get into how to rank up from platinum to diamond. At this point, a lot of your success is going to rely on your decision making in-game, not on your mechanical skill. Fight as a team, don't die in 1v1s. Next, I'm going to need you to start using the Sandbox. The BR is the most versatile weapon in Halo Infinite, but it also does some of the least amount of damage. Most of the weapons in the ranked Sandbox are going to do more damage than your BR, so start picking them up. Next is a really difficult one for a good player to stop sometimes, and that's knowing what fights to take and stop chasing. We all like to see that kill feed light up with our name, but sometimes you gotta let the guy walk, stick to your setup, and help the team. The last two things I want to touch on are moving with purpose and managing space. Halo is a fast-paced game, and every second you're alive counts. You want to make sure that every second you're not at a respawn screen, you're making moves to help the team, not wandering around the map aimlessly. Even if you're not actively looking for gunfights, you could be using this uptime to gather info, secure key spots on the map, and influence spawns for your team and the enemy team. Space management is something that's often talked about in tactical shooters like CSGO and Valorant, but also plays a large part in Halo Infinite. Position yourself and your team such that you can get info on where your opponents are and where they are moving to. Make sure your team is occupying key positions on the map that have great sightlines into any lanes your opponents will use to make entry on the objective. You want your opponent to feel like anytime they advance from their spawn, they're going to be taking damage. And let's wrap this video up with the final stretch, the push to Onyx. At this point, you should have lights out mechanics. You should be able to hit the majority of your shots while also doing your best to avoid taking damage. You've developed an unpredictable strafe while mixing in crouches and jumps where appropriate. At this point, your games are going to be won and lost on real-time decision making and team play. Although not necessary, understanding spawn control can also greatly increase your success in ranked games. Influencing and predicting spawns can allow for you to tread the optimal path on the way to the objective and also collapse on enemy spawns when needed. At this point, you should have all your callouts memorized. This will allow your team to effectively communicate their intentions and easily share enemy locations. Lastly, any player looking to find their way into Onyx needs to hone their knowledge of the game and optimize their strategies to emulate those that have shown the best rates of success. I implore anyone who takes their play seriously to watch high-level games and analyze how and why the best in the world play the way they do. Well, that's going to wrap this one up for me, guys. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to see more live Halo content, please follow me on twitch.tv/thatdude. If I missed anything or you want me to go into any more detail on anything we covered today, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next one.